Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. We'll begin with our top stories. Some 27% of children between 0 to 5 years still suffer from severe malaria, and the treatment of these children is not free, as announced by the state. These are some of the results of the 2022 Malaria Indicator Survey published this Thursday in Yaoundé. And support staff of state universities in Cameroon have expressed anger on government's salary arrears, which dates as far back as 2014, and on application of minimum wage of 41,000 francs CFA. They expressed anger at a press briefing today in Douala, where they called on government to address the problems of failure to do so. They will embark on a strike action on February 7, 2024. And Cameroon's indomitable Lionesses have bowed to the Crested Cranes of Uganda by 2-0 this afternoon. The game counted for the first leg of the second round of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games qualifiers. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Some 27% of children between the ages of 0 to 5 still suffer from severe malaria, and the treatment of these children is not free, as announced by the state. These are some of the results in the 2022 Malaria Indication Survey published this Thursday in Yaoundé. On the story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamo.
In a bid to effectively combat malaria in Cameroon, it is important to have a clear knowledge of the different indicators. What pushed for the survey to measure essential indicators on a national, regional, and by place of residence on the endemic character of malaria? An aspect noticed is that children suffering from malaria are numerous in Cameroon.
27% d'enfants de moins de 5 ans ont été
25% of children below 5 were tested positive. We saw the problem of treatment of children not free, as announced by the state. Malaria prevalence vary from region to region. With our agroecology, some zones are more affected than others. Areas with nearby water point, farm, and other trees close by, there malaria is much. On knowledge and attitude on prevention method, it was also noticed that the use of mosquito bed nets high, but others such as spraying homes, hygiene around the house, not well mastered by the population. Many do not go to hospital with malaria that fast, so that caution can be taken. With this 2022 Malaria Indicator Survey, Public Health Minister Manauda Malashi added they have a leeway to continue.
Maintenant, nous avons simplement engagé les différents acteurs à pouvoir rentrer, exploiter cette mine d'or qui est cette mine d'information, pouvoir maintenant affiner de nouvelles stratégies.
Such as the new National Malaria Control Strategic Plan 2023 to 2027.
And we take you to Bafia, where a government school recently was a victim to a shocking act of vandalism carried out by unidentified individuals. The extent of the damage is significant, with the destruction of electrical installations and educational materials, among other things. More on the story with our student journalist on internship, Christy Ayare.
The government school of application in Plateau, situated in the city of Bafia, has been vandalized by a group of unknown assailants. The whole school is in a state of disarray. We have been scandalized. It has become an habit because for several times now, bad gangs are vandalizing this establishment. The primary objective of the vandalism was to steal cables and damage educational materials.
Nous avons constaté que les coups de vol
We realized that the theft is most focused on cable lines and they also destroy pedagogic materials.
Destruction du matériel pédagogique.
This has resulted to a power outage in the entire school, affecting the students' learning. When there is no electricity, we stop studies, most especially when there is poor weather. The entire class is in darkness. We cannot work. In fact, the entire school is without electricity. Despite the school's repeated complaints to law enforcement authorities, the culprits responsible for this act of vandalism remain unidentified.
Support staff of state universities across Cameroon have expressed anger on governments over accumulated salary arrears, which dates as far back as 2014, and non-application of minimum wage of 41,000 francs CFA. They expressed anger at a press briefing in Douala today, as we hear in the full story. Support staff are workers in the administrative, health, security, and welfare departments of state universities in Cameroon. They perform vital tasks that cannot be overlooked. Akem William is a support staff at the University of Boya. He has been working for 14 years in the midst of the Anglophone crisis and still faces many challenges in his job.
You know how we are insecure in the southwest and the northwest. So it's a cleaner to leave his job, the home, and come to university at 6 to clean the club before 7 o'clock. It's a normal sacrifice they're doing. Security guards, they work throughout.
However, despite their sacrifices and endless services to state universities, support staff are lamenting over accumulated salary arrears that dates back to 2014, leaving them with 78 months of unpaid wages.
As far back as 2014, there was a prime ministerial decree that was signed, increasing minimum wage. But this decree only became effective in state universities in January 2021. So we have written to the government that we need the arrears of those payments. And we have had so many encounters with the public authorities. And they have recognized that they owe the support staff. June 2023, we're supposed to go on strike in state universities, but we're called for dialogue. And in that encounter, they informed us that they have actually recognized the debt and the amount is known.
They are also demanding a 5.2% salary increase as ordered by the head of state in February 2023. Moreover, they are calling for the implementation of a minimum wage of 41 francs CFA.
And giving enough time for the government to actually budget the said areas in the November session at the National Assembly. And when budgets are operational in January, the money should be paid.
At a press conference on Thursday, October 25 in Douala, the Trade Union of Support Staff of Cameroon State Universities said they have given the government enough time to address their grievances. If their demands are not met, they will go on strike by February 7, 2024. And checkpoints in the city of Douala are becoming rampant, with motorbike riders and taxi drivers often stopped by the roadside, sometimes for illegal checking. This has caused the extortion of money from them by individuals who stand at the checkpoints in a bid to put an end to a phenomenon. Stakeholders have come together in a conference and called on the government to look into the situation. More on the story with our reporter, William Fro.
At every street in Douala, checkpoints are visible. They had a new order of day as vehicle owners are often harassed as they go about their daily activities. The multiple checkpoints in the city, we really do not understand. With life which is already difficult, we can't reach ends meet. The roads are bad. If the authorities could rehabilitate them, at least it would be better. But take a look, we aren't happy. We establish our identification documents, pay our taxes, but with bad road. Really, we are fed up of the checkpoints. Some persons deliberately do not stop at the road so as to avoid the many troubles that come along, like fighting. I personally do not stop at the roadside unless it's the police or gendarme officer who stops me. Even when I am on a highway, those people in color jerseys, I never stop because I know the law states that a civilian shouldn't stop a road user. In a bid to put an end to this phenomenon, individuals in the transport sector have gathered in Douala October 26, discussing the numerous solutions and call on the authorities to look into the issue.
But aujourd'hui, nous nous rendons compte.
Today we notice a malfunction at checkpoints with individuals coming from nowhere dressed in required dresses and start harassing road users. So we call on the authorities to look into the subject matter.
J'inviterai l'autorité à essayer de recadrer.
As they wait on the competent authorities to put order at checkpoints, they equally hope the roads are rehabilitated.
And we take you to Banda in the northwest region of Cameroon, where traders of the Tarikun markets have appealed to municipal authority to dispose of the heavy pile of garbage that has been emitting pungent smell for the past 3 months, because of all the narrow nature of the road caused by the rubbish recently led to the death of a child who fell from a motorcycle. More on the story with our northwest correspondent, Annie Collins. Annie.
This is the mountain of garbage that has been at the center of heavy traffic jam and even the recent death of a child at the Tarikun market in Bamenda 2 subdivision. According to the traders and the population, the filth has been around for about 3 months now.
We so uncomfortable selling here because most customers would decide to go and buy better. They'll go and buy a food market because there's no discount there. Like guys are living from there, landing on food everybody eating. Mothers are crying, children are crying.
Surprisingly, the traders next to the dump site are still holding tight to their sales points where they take their breakfast and lunch besides the foodstuff sold to the public.
If they like this, it's making us not to sell again. When customers come, they'll see the data. There's some people say that they cannot sell, they cannot buy away. There's much tasty like this.
With the situation running out of hand, the neighboring traders drive away children sent by their parents to dispose of waste because they are accused of littering the road, which is already narrow by more than half. However, municipal authorities have been called upon to endeavor to clear the rubbish before it causes some airborne diseases.
So I beg now to come and carry the bed. Yes.
Even the video surveillance camera seems to be powerless in the face of the decaying pile of dirt right below its own feet.
And to ease the burdens of households during end-of-year festivities, the Minister of Trade, Luc Magua Balga Athangana, has decided to drop down the prices of some basic commodities 1 week after the decision. The reality of field is different. The high prices continue to suffocate buyers, as Gladys Ambodiba reports.
Chicken weighing between 1.8 and 2 kilograms still sell at between 3,500 and 4,000 francs CFA in markets, and a tray of egg at between 2,200 and 2,500 francs CFA. At the Douala Central Market, vendors are overwhelmed as price hikes send away potential buyers.
Price has increased from 2.5 to 3.5. Which means there's a difference of 1,000, yes. And the weight is about 1.5 to 2 kilos.
Vendors say suppliers' cost determines their sales prices in the market and blame the high cost of chicken on skyrocketed prices of raw material.
Their food is very costly.
Producers are complaining that maize is expensive, soybeans is also expensive, and other products used in producing chicken feed. They cannot invest to loss. The price of maize has increased to 310 francs CFA since January. It is exceptional. Even reducing the price to 200 francs CFA is still expensive. And a full price for maize permit us feed the chicken should be at 107 francs because it's a major for feed, estimated at about 60%. To avoid speculation during end-of-year festivities, the Minister of Trade, Luc Magua Tanganambarga, announced a drop in the prices of chicken, eggs, bread, and cement. But the reality of field is different. The Cameroon Poultry Interprofessional Association, IPAVI, says The implementation lies in the hands of distributors and vendors.
C'est pas nous qui décidons en réalité du prix.
The problem does not lie with producers, but with the speculators. Retailers determine their prices after buying from producers. They are the ones to be addressed. Officials at the Ministry of Trade are, however, hopeful that the harmonized prices will be respected, but it is a matter of time to permit vendors exhaust all stocks.
And as to the kickoff of the 10th ordinary session of the Social Democratic Front Party, delegates are flowing in from both home and abroad into the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, the venue of the event. The multipurpose sports complex already breathing the colors of the opposition party, with different committees busy with last-minute preparations. Haisencha reports.
The image of the late chairman of the Social Democratic Front, John Frunji, flying high on the banner of the 10th Ordinary Congress here at the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Yaoundé. Members of the different committees busy with final mobilization ahead of the kickoff this Friday, October 27.
As a media to come here, we are waiting, as you, many others, even from abroad, that can be here. We have taken disposition to allow to everyone who need to come and cover it, or even to come freely, and make sure that there won't be no problem.
We have mobilized everything so far as security is concerned. We have been able to mobilize first, starting with our party, with our vanguards from other regions to be able to be here. We have also arranged with the usual forces of law and order, and then even with the private security firms. We want to have a Congress that is hitch-free from any security incidents.
The diaspora militants of the SDF already on home soil, hoping to have a memorable convention and a more objective party.
It's very, very important that after the Congress that we directly go through the resolution we will take during the conventions to make the SDF become the greatest party we have seen in the 19th.
And to fill this seat during the 2 days event are 2,400 delegates from the regions and the diaspora, as well as militants of friendly political parties and invited delegations from different countries who will be in Cameroon to witness the election of the next chairman after John Frunji.
And the quality of education experienced by some Cambridge accredited schools in Cameroon's economic city Douala has been commended by the British High Commission to Cameroon on a working visit to the economic city Douala this October 26, 2023. His Excellency Barry Lowen was out to renew partnership with some of these institutions and assess the standards of education. Gladys Ambodiba tells us more.
A moment of exchange between the British High Commissioner to Cameroon, His Excellency Barry Lowen, and students of this international institution that offers the Cambridge curriculum. This was during a visit to some Cambridge accredited schools in Douala, October 26, 2023, to assess the quality of education dispensed in the institutions.
And I'm here to celebrate the partnership between the British Council and the education sector in Cameroon in general, but this school in particular. And it's been a real pleasure to see something of the work of this school in promoting inclusion in education and excellence in education.
At this accredited language center, his feelings were same. He was fascinated by the training offered.
English is a global language, and so the training offered here empowers people as they pursue their careers.
It was a convivial moment for these students, amazed by the messages of the diplomats.
One thing he really emphasized on was critical thinking. He mentioned also that they are working on ways for less privileged people to be able to have the Cambridge education with scholarships, and it was a really enriching and memorable moment.
To management of these institutions, the visits of the British High Commission will foster relations and facilitate exchanges.
with the British High Commissioner coming to our school, is just a way of reinforcing the fact that we have a relationship with them and actually cementing that relationship, because now we have access, to him especially, and it makes us feel that we really are partners.
We are working together to build the English language, to improve the language proficiency of Cameroonians, so that when they go out of here to English-speaking zones, they will not be lost.
They are hoping with these renewed partnerships, relations with the British High Commission will ease transactions.
And we now talk sports. Paris 24 Olympic qualifiers. The indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon have bowed to the Crested Cranes of Uganda by 2-0 this afternoon. The game counted for the first leg of the second round of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games qualifiers. Both teams are set to meet again on October 31 in Douala for the second leg of the qualifiers. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast, the English language on Canal. The International. Take another rendezvous tomorrow, same time. Good night.